Hey everyone, I hope we're all off to a good start of the week. And I titled the name of this article review The IT Budgeting Process. And the reason I did this was because in Chapter 9 of our textbook reading, um, we learn some key concepts of IT budgeting, and we also learn some importance of the budgeting process, specifically with IT. So, the article I have chosen is to be related to that, and the title of it is a strategic approach to IT budgeting, and it's by Donnie Shimamoto, and he wrote this in 2012, February 29th. So in this article, there's a very strategic approach to IT budgeting that's being stressed, and that's something that I found really interesting that the textbook doesn't seem to mention. So. The idea of strategic approach to IT budgeting aligns perfectly with what we've been studying. So, just to start, the first point from the article states that the organizations of all types often struggle with IT budgeting, and the reason this seems to be occurring is because there's a misunderstanding between the IT team and the financing team. The finance team, they just don't seem to understand what the IT team does, and the IT team just doesn't understand the budget on what the finance side of that seems to be. So the article will then just kind of go on to recommend that both teams, they look at an IT spending as an investment in the company, in the company's future, and the author states that good IT budgeting is like good financial planning. I think that's very well said. I think it's a very beautiful way of saying it, and I do think it's appropriate the leaders must know the short and long-term goals of the company, or if it's a client, that could be the case. So I think it's super important to note the long-term and short-term goals of the company when thinking about IT budgeting and financial planning. It's also important just to analyze several strategies to determine the approach that aligns best with the mission and then the risk tolerance of the company. So the article points it out perfectly. We also then go on to see, the misconception about the IT budget, and how it comprises many components, and rather than just this one component as a whole, because that seems to be a misconception a lot from different people out there working in IT. These components that should be noted include capital, operating, and project categories, as well as different types of spending. With four specific expenditures, and that would be software, hardware, subscriptions, and lastly, services. So these categories should include capital, operating, and project. And then the article will then go on to talk about, an interesting way to analyze the IT budget by using a run, grow, transform analysis. And I've never heard of this run, grow, transform analysis, but it seems to be promising, and it seems that it could really turn around an IT budget or that company's budget as a whole. And what it states, this run, grow, transform analysis is the run budget items keep the organization operating. So the author states it like this. He says that the run analysis keeps the lights on, if you know what I mean. So it just keeps it operating. The author will then go on to talk about grow budget items, and how these budget items help the organization initiate new capabilities and develop remaining ones. These budget items are meant to link directly to the organization's strategic initiatives. And then lastly, the author states that grow budget items strive to expand the organization's IT ability. The last thing that I noticed that he noted was these transform budget items. They're like research and development type activities. And another thing he noted was these budget items are usually the first to be cut from a company if they're short on finances, because it's the least needed of the three. So. I really thought this analysis was really interesting, and I hope that you also find it to be intriguing and helpful. And then lastly, the article just kind of talks about the importance of the reserve approach to IT budgeting, and how this helps companies manage cash flow coming in and coming out. So this strategy, it's a very useful way for smaller entities and not for profits, because they'll typically have less cash for capital expenditures. And I just really hope that you all kind of enjoyed this article and found some interesting ideas that can help you in your coming years. So thank you.